All right, guys. So today's actually a huge day if you are a fan of true wireless earbuds, because Soundcore is releasing their new Liberty Pro earbuds. And if you're a fan of true wireless earbuds, you'll know that the Liberty Pro series is usually kind of at the top when it comes to people's ratings, when it comes to sound and features and all of that. It's just like the one pair that they just don't ever hold back on. So today we're going to check out actually two pairs. We're checking out the brand new Liberty 5 Pro and the Liberty 5 Pro Max. This is the first time I've seen them do this. They're doing a try before you buy program where it's basically giving you 30 days worry-free trial. You just try them out, compare them to the earbuds you're already using when it comes to sound, noise canceling, features, all of that stuff. They're confident that you're going to like these so much that they just want you to try them for 30 days. And then if you do decide to keep them, you just pay for them afterwards. That's kind of crazy. I don't really see a whole lot of companies do this. But if you are interested in being a part of this, it is limited from what I do understand. I will have this linked in the description for you to check out. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things they share in common. Now, they both do have screens, but the Liberty 5 Pro has the screen on the front, which is touchscreen, just like it was on the Liberty 4 Pros. But the Max version has an AMOLED display on the top that is much larger. Again, it is also a touchscreen display, but it allows you to do some features that aren't on the regular Liberty 5 Pro, because the AMOLED display on the Max allows you to take notes just by using the case itself. It will just record what people are saying. It will transcribe it. You can see it within the app. That is actually a very cool feature. And then it also allows you to see translation. So if you are talking to somebody that speaks another language, you can have it translated and you can just read what they're trying to say in your language on the case itself. So you don't have to have your phone in front of you to do this. It's very convenient that you could just do that right there from the case. Now, both cases do support Qi wireless charging, so you can just drop it on any wireless charger and have it charged that way. Both earbuds have Bluetooth 6.1, and both earbuds allow you to connect to 3 devices at a time. Now, most of the time we see the multi-point connection is allowing you to connect to 2 devices. There hasn't been really many, if any, that I've tested that you're allowed to connect to 3 devices at the same time. They both support LDAC playback, so you are getting that high-res codec just by using that. And they both have Dolby Atmos with head tracking. Now, I've said this, I'm just not a huge fan of Dolby Atmos when it comes to the head tracking. It's just this weird effect when it comes to music. But this is actually very beneficial with movies, TV shows, and even with gaming. So depending on what you use it on, this is actually a nice feature to have. One very interesting thing about these earbuds is Anker has developed what they call Anker Thus. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is the world's first compute-in-memory AI audio chip. So it has its own AI chip built in. It has its own computing power built in. And this is allowing for several different things. It's basically giving it no lag with certain voice commands. So if you needed to skip the track or pause, you're telling it to do these things, where usually when you do a voice command, it has to send it to the cloud to get it to know what you're doing, and there's a delay. These are pretty much instant commands that are getting done right away. It also has a personalized sound feature done within the app, but this is also done with the chip itself. So it's a much smarter chip to develop sound based off your listening preferences. You can go within the app. There is a 10-band EQ if you just want to dial it in yourself. But a huge feature with this chip is this allowed these earbuds to have the Guinness World Record for the level of call quality. So if you're somebody that's interested in call quality with earbuds, especially people that are in business that just have their earbuds in all the time, this is now the world's best when it comes to call quality, especially when it comes to clarity. And that is basically allowing that chip mixed with the 8 microphones that they have and 2 bone conduction sensors. So it's even like, knowing that you're doing something based off the movement of your bone structure, that it knows what to focus in on. So it knows, even in like the noisiest environments, that I need to focus in on this voice and I need to just block everything else out. Everything else that doesn't sound like this voice doesn't need to be picked up. And this is actually pretty incredible, the call quality that these have. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here.
All right, guys. So this is being recorded with the microphones on the Liberty 5 Pros, but we're going to do this a little bit differently. So I am shooting this indoors, but I'm actually going to play something on a speaker that's pretty loud that I want you to be able to hear just as it is by itself before I start talking. So you will hear it start to kind of isolate me from the music that's being played pretty much like at an arm's length away from me. So I'm going to go ahead and start the music here. And so now I'm just going to just talk normally so that you can kind of see what the AI is doing to just isolate me from that music that's playing. Again, it's playing at a pretty loud volume, like just at an arm's length away from me. And this is at an extreme level. So, like, if you were just around other people talking or in a crowd, just imagine how much more it's going to isolate you from that type of noise. Again, kind of impressive. But again, this is just to give you an idea of how it's going to sound if you were to take a call in public or at a club or anywhere where there's music playing, something like this.
So outside of the call quality, let's go ahead and talk about the noise canceling, because I feel like this is another level that they have definitely stepped up big time. Now they, in my opinion, definitely compete with the larger names when it comes to noise canceling earbuds. But this is where I start to really see the value, because the more expensive noise canceling earbuds are hovering at around $300, even more than that. So soundcore is definitely coming in when it comes to value, even though the price of these have gone up from previous models. But the noise canceling is on a whole other level. The noise canceling, whether it be lower tones like engine noises, AC units, things like that, even people talking, it does an excellent job of blocking out. Now you can control this within the app. You can control this on the case itself, because there are different levels of noise canceling. If you want to go into noise canceling, you can go from like level 1 to level 5. I just kind of left mine at 5 because it just allowed me to be isolated from everything else. And it's just some of the best noise canceling that I've tested on any earbud. And then same thing with the transparency mode or ambient mode. It does an excellent job of bringing in your environment. It doesn't sound artificial. It doesn't sound digital. It actually sounds pretty natural. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, it does come in with an IP55 rating, which means you have some pretty decent water protection, but you're also getting dust protection as well. So this gives you less to worry about if you're at the beach with sand, or if you're on a job site, there's just dust flying around. You're kind of protected against that about as much as you are like rain, splashes, sweat, things like that. Now, as far as what they've included in the box, you do get 5 sets of silicone ear tips. They also allow for a couple of fins. This is just allowing these to kind of stay in your ear a little bit better. And then they've also included a USB-C cable for charging. But like I said, you can just drop these on a wireless charger, so you don't actually have to use the USB-C cable. Speaking of the charging, battery life is very impressive. Now, if you just use them with the noise canceling off, you can get about 12 hours on the earbuds and about 50 hours using the case. But even with the noise canceling on, you're still going to get about 6 to 6.5 hours on the earbuds and about 28 hours using the case. And then it also has a very impressive fast charging feature where a 5-minute charge will get you 4 hours of use. So that 5 minutes almost tops you off when it comes to battery life. So that is actually very impressive, especially if you're just heading out the door. You forgot to charge your earbuds. It's nice to know you can get that 4 hours on a quick 5-minute charge. So now let's go ahead and move over to the sound, which now we can kind of talk about the drivers that these are using. They are using 9.2 millimeter wool paper diaphragms mixed with bass enhancing tubes. So they are definitely focusing on the low end, having those bass tubes. And I can definitely say right out of the box, without even messing with the sound, this is a very dynamically tuned earbud. This is kind of to be expected because a lot of the Soundcore Liberty series has always been tuned this way. And also in typical Soundcore fashion, there is a lot of punch in the low end, but also a lot of space. It is not congested, it's not muddy, it's not bass, it's just coming in and rolling over everything else. They're definitely allowing the mids and the treble to have a lot of focus as well. The mids actually have a really nice forward approach where male or female vocals always kind of sound like they're a few steps in front of everything else, which also lends itself well for gaming and movies that you never have any issue hearing dialogue. And the treble on these actually has some nice brightness to it. So this is a very consumer-friendly tuned earbud, but it does respond to EQing very well. So if you do want to dial back the bass, you can do that within the app. If you do want to just dial down the treble if it's a little too much, it responds to it very well without affecting everything else. I don't know if you've ever really messed with earbuds and EQing. Sometimes when you turn something up or mess around with something, you just lose a lot of volume. And luckily, the Liberty 5 Pro and the Pro Max don't suffer from this. And then when it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging, I will say if you're in the level 5 noise canceling, it kind of makes you feel like you're in a smaller area because it just sounds so quiet. It doesn't sound like it has as much depth or as much space as it does when you're just listening in normal mode. This isn't like a huge difference. I will still say, like, in regular mode, I would say I feel like I'm in a large room, but with the noise canceling level to 5, I would say I'm more in a medium sized room. But it does a really, really good job of being able to tell where every sound and every little thing is coming from. So my overall opinion is this. I think this is definitely the best that Soundcore has released when it comes to any of their earbuds. When it comes to features, these don't lack anywhere. And then when it comes to noise canceling, it's now competing with the higher names that are out there. And sound quality wise, especially if you like a fun sounding earbud, this one's definitely going to give you the bass that you want, give you the brightness that you want, and you're not sacrificing by not really being able to hear, you know, like guitars and vocalists because of the dynamic tuning overall. It is a very fun earbud, but it can be dialed back if you want it to be a little more natural sounding and not as in your face. So there's just a lot of options when it comes to the way that these sound. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new Soundcore Liberty 5 Pro and the Liberty 5 Pro Max. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.